Hello, my name is Sonia, and this is video number 7 in my series, The Basics of Crochet. Today we are going to learn how to make a half double crochet. The previous videos of stitches, we've learned the single crochet and the double crochet. Now we're going to learn about the half double crochet. And again, these are basic stitches that you should know with crocheting. If you know these basic stitches, you should be able to make just about anything you want. So this is the abbreviation for half double crochet. Up top here, it's HDC. So if you're reading a pattern and you see HDC, you will know that that stands for half double crochet. So as you can see, these abbreviations are handy because if a pattern was fully written out, you know, that would be a lot of words. So abbreviations do make it more simple. Some people find it challenging to read patterns, but when you know these abbreviations, it's really simple. So I'm going to show you an example of half double crochet right here. We have 3 rows of half double crochet that I've made on my little swatch. And to get started with that, today I'm using a size I hook or 5.5 millimeter. You can use a G, an H, or an I. It's up to you. I'm just going to use an I today. And again, I have my worsted weight yarn in a light color so I can easily see my stitches. And to start off, we need to make a chain because that's our foundation. And before we begin our chain, we have to make our slip knot. So I've got my slip knot on there, not too tight, not too loose. So we are going to make 10 half double crochets. So to make 10, we need to chain 11. So we are just going to get started. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So there's our 11 chains, and just as a little refresher here, here is the abbreviation for chains. So if this was a pattern that I've written, it would say CH chain 11. Okay? And now we're going to begin, this would be row 1 to start our half double crochet. Now, like before, when we did the double crochet, we will need to do a yarn over first. So we're going to have a yarn over before we insert our hook into any of these chains. We have to have our yarn over. So you've got your 2 loops on there. And we are going to skip the first 2 chains. So here's 1, 2, we're going to work in the 3rd chain. So oftentimes a pattern will say chain 11, work 1 half double crochet in 3rd chain from hook. So here's 1, 2, 3, so we're going to work in the 3rd chain. And I like to stick my thumb there to kind of, as a little marker, it just makes it easier for me, but I mean, you don't have to do that. It's just something that I do. So we're going to insert our hook into that chain. So we've got 1, 2, looks like 3, 4 there. Now we're going to do a yarn over, pull through just those first 2, and we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to do another yarn over, and we are going to pull through all 3 of these loops. So this one can get a little tricky sometimes because they don't always want to cooperate. That's why it's important to use yarn, especially when you're learning that has a smoother texture to it to make it easier to manipulate these stitches. So we did our yarn over, it's going to catch under there, pull through all 3. So we have made a half double crochet. Now our first 2 that we skipped right here is going to count as a stitch. And again, some patterns will not count these as a stitch. Usually the pattern will tell you, but for our little swatch here, it's going to count. So we actually already have 2 stitches. So 1, 2. So now we're going to do our second one. So we don't have to skip any more chains. We're going to work right in this next chain. So I've kind of marked it with my thumb. I've got my yarn over. Going to insert my hook in there. So 1, 2, looks like 3, 4. Going to do a yarn over. We're going to pull through these first 2 guys here. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. So I'm going to do another yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 3 of those loops. And now we've completed our third half double crochet. We're going to keep going. So yarn over, into the next chain, yarn over, pull through those first two, yarn over, pull through all three. And just keep on going down the line. And again, your speed will come. So don't get discouraged if you feel like it's taking forever, because it will get better. And usually the first row is a little more tricky, especially if you're working in like 100 chains and you want to make sure, you know, you don't miss any, because then I'll just throw off your complete pattern. So a lot of times the first row, you want to take a little bit more care, a little bit more time, and then as you get going in the pattern, it will usually go a lot faster. So we are almost done our first row. All three of half double crochet. So half double crochet is like in between the sides of a single crochet. Single crochet, if you remember, is a much shorter stitch. Double crochet is a taller stitch. So this is kind of right in the middle. So this is our last chain here, and then we will count them to make sure that we do have 10, because again, counting is important. See, I've got my little gap there. I'm just going to pull that guide gently closed, and let's see. There, yeah, my loop's not cooperating. All right, so we've completed one row. We're going to see if we indeed have 10. Now, again, if you turn it, you can see it looks like a row of chains. So these first two we skipped is stitch number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And again, these are a little easier to count too, because they are a little bit taller. You know, you can kind of grab them with your fingers. And I do that sometimes when I'm counting stitches. I'll just kind of gently grab them. You don't want to yank and pull it too much because you're going to mess up your stitches. But, you know, a little manipulation is okay just to make sure you have enough. So we have 10. So now we are going to continue with row 2. And again, row 1 will be our right side. So to start row 2, we're going to chain 2. So 1, 2, and we need to turn our work. So we flip it over. So we've already chained 2. That is going to count as our first stitch. So we do not want to work in this first stitch right here. We want to work in the second stitch. So you can see there's 1, 2. We're going to work in this one, because if we work in this one, we're going to have extra, and we don't want to have extra. So we're going to do a yarn over, and I've kind of marked it with my thumb there. I'm going to insert my hook in there so you can see. This looks like we're under the chain there. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on there. We're going to do our yarn over, pull through those 2 guys. We've got our 3, yarn over, pull through all 3 of those. So we have 1 and 2 stitches. So we're going to keep going across row number 2. Until we get to our last stitch, and again we're going to be working in the chain just like we did with double crochet. The skipped chain 2 is a stitch, so we need to work in it. And sometimes that can be a little tricky working in the chain, so you know, you just might need to manipulate it a little bit with your fingers to get it in there. That's why it's important when you are chaining and turning, you don't want to make your chains too tight, because it can be a pain to you know, work in that last chain if they're really tight. So we've completed 9. We can't forget it's very easy to forget the last one. So that's why counting is important. You want to make sure that you don't forget your last stitch. So we'll do our yarn over. We're just gonna work in that chain, get it in there, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we shall see if we have made 10 for our second row. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we do have 10. So we're on a roll. We're on the right track. So we're going to go to row 3, chain 2, flip our work, turn it. Again, we're going to skip this first stitch here because we don't want to have 11, we want to have 10. So we're going to insert our hook right in there. So now we've made 2 stitches. Keep going, pull through all 3 stitches. And all the way down the line so we have 3 rows of half double crochet. Oops. Helps if you keep the hook in the loop, otherwise you can't work your stitches. And we are almost down to the end. And sometimes these last ones, they can get a little crunchy, so just want to be mindful of that. So it can be easy to miss a stitch and half double crochet sometimes. It's a neat stitch. I like it. It has a neat texture and look to it. But you just need to pay attention. Again, we're going to just get our hook in that last chain and see if we have our 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have completed 3 rows of half double crochet, and this is the right side. So this is row 1, this is row 2, and this is row 3. Oops. So that is your half double crochet stitch. And again, if you want to keep practicing, just keep chaining 2, turning, and make as many rows as you would like. Thank you so much for watching.